These my Dallas make it hurt.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Deep Cover Podcast. I'm your host, Kerry Stevenson. As always, shout out to my co hosts, Mike Crawford, Chris Aguilera. We made it, guys. We have made it to the end of draft season. A lot of work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but we made it. Most of you have drafted all the teams that you're going to draft for this year. So you're probably thinking, now what? So let's kind of explore that. I'm going to get you ready for week one. Some of the things you need to be kind of focusing in on, and to make sure that you have great drafts. Hopefully, you use the tier rankings, and the tier rankings led you to teams that you feel good about. But now it's time to take that draft and carry that over and make sure that you're doing the things necessary to turn great drafts into great teams and great seasons and hopefully championship winning teams. So, first one right at the top, we want to reevaluate the roster. You're looking at your team right after the draft and comparing them to other teams in the league. You could feel great, you could feel horrible, you could feel, indifferent. And none of those things may be accurate at the end of the day. So just, give yourself some time away from it. Just step away, come back the next day and, look at it objectively and get a real feel for your team. This is super important. You need to have a feel for the strengths and weaknesses of your roster, your swing spots. Those couple players, or decisions that will change the upside of your team and the trajectory of your team. You need to understand your team in and out, and if you do that, you'll have clarity on how to move kind of optimally throughout the season. If you have a real um, fundamental understanding of where your team stands. So that's super important. Secondly, build that list of undrafted free agents, man. We talked about that in the group pod, and that's super important. Who are the guys that, if there were a couple more rounds in your draft, who are the guys that you would have taken? You know, who are the guys that you anticipate a role change coming forward that could boost their value? Uh, you need to have some level of evaluation on most any player that's going to get playing time this season, because when we get into the season and your league may start dropping players, you don't have time to be trying to research these guys to figure this out. Like, there's times where you just have minutes. You need to be able to make a decision right then when you get that alert on your phone to say, hey, this player's been dropped. You need to know right away, who can I drop on my team? Is this player worth picking up? So there will be no time when an under the radar player scores two touchdowns in a game on week one Sunday. People are going to be jumping, so you need to be right there ready um, to make that happen, to get these guys on your team. And so all that prep um, prior to will save you time on the back end and kind of secure players for you. Another thing is leveraging injuries. I'm not saying to kick a man while he's down, but in the words of the great Stanford Martin, sometimes that's the best time to kick them because then they can't kick back. But so I'm not saying try to rip somebody off. I'm not a proponent of that. I'm a proponent of moving with integrity. Looking at other people's rosters and sending them mutually beneficial trade offers, fair offers that can help both sides. I think you're going to get a lot more done that way. But in these situations, if someone's in a bind and they get a little desperate, they will gladly overpay you to get out of that bind. So, if you're in a league where you drafted before J.K. Dobbins got hurt, as an example, and say that person drafted J.K. Dobbins and that was his anchor RB. That's he wanted to go about the draft as having him as an anchor and then kind of piecing together an RB2. Well, his anchor is gone now, so be aware of that. Send those offers out. Cash in on some of your depth, and see if you can get something at another position. Maybe you want to level up at tight end, or you want another wide receiver. this is the time, this is the opportunity, especially before the season starts, because people might feel they're most desperate um, to kind of fill that hole before anything has happened as far as the ball being kicked off. So definitely keep that in mind. And then lastly, identify those buy low opportunities. Who is a guy that you anticipate he may have a slow start. Maybe it's a tough early season schedule. Maybe they're like a Saquon that was returning from injury that could start slow, and maybe have to shake off some rust. Just be aware of those guys. Maybe create a list of those guys, and watch their performance. 3 weeks in a row with subpar games. You may have the person that has that guy on their team. They may get impatient, and they maybe want to make a move. So always be ready to be able to pounce on those kind of opportunities. Uh, so that's it, man. We're gonna end it here. Something short and sweet. As always, like, rate, and review the show, and check us out the next time. Peace.